What's up, y'all? This is your boy Gerald. It is Thursday, the 28th, 2016. How is each and every one of y'all doing? You got one more day before the weekend begins, and I hope that wherever you are well. I hope that you are sidestepping the negative, grounding your feet, but most importantly, speaking the truth. But most importantly, I hope that you are placing God first in everything you do. Because to have your legacy fulfilled, you have to put him before all things. And this morning when I woke up, with the events that have gone on the last, I say since the weekend, there's been a lot of influx and a lot of things put out on the media. Some of the conspiracy theories have been floating around. But I believe when it's all said and done, y'all, all that is needed is truth. And to have truth, you must be transparent with yourself. You must be vulnerable with you. That's right, you. YOU. Yielding one's uniqueness. This is what separates you from that person. But to do that, you must be courageous. You must look at your mortality and see its worth. It can never be measured by another person because it is you. But I'm also convinced that the things that we do with half the knowledge and impulse reassures the decision. And I also think that there is fear embedded in there too. But for those who do know me, they know this. No matter what you're going through, just know that you're prayed for. And with that, there comes a responsibility because, see, you have to fulfill your purpose. Bottom line. I used to echo this all the time. Those that you have given access to your life that's able to be close enough to hear you breathe. If you want to see an indication of their loyalty to you, you ask them what their purpose is. Because, see, a person that knows their purpose will never stumble. They see their worth and they'll speak their truth, even in time of pain. Because, see, they already know what's at stake. It's not the moment that is shared in an embrace or a cup of coffee. It's much, much deeper. It's the kinship. And what I mean by that, it goes down to the spirit. That is why some bonds feel heaven sent, or those who choose not to embrace their emotional state. You're going to get there. There's no need to be afraid of what you're feeling. No matter what is being shown. I had a dream last night. I saw someone going through some things pretty deep. And with that, let me hold that thought, y'all. Because see, what you don't know is, yeah, there's Mr. Man. And as long as I've been doing these videos, he always wants to be the distractor. And he also knows that I'm about to put him in the kennel. Yeah, you know I'm gonna put you in the kennel. Because this ain't gonna work. You know that. Get up here. Over here. Up here, dude. Up here. See what I'm saying? Up here. No, that ain't gonna work. Because I got candles burning. That's right. You know Gerald's burning that sage for you. Come on, let's go get in the kennel. Be right back, y'all. Come on. Try to give you a read for you. Come on in there. You know the word. You know I'm talking to somebody. Somebody needs to hear this. I'll let you out after I'm done. I appreciate your patience, y'all. I really do. But bottom line, Gerald wants you to find you. That's right. Yeah, I know somebody's like, well, what's that say on your shirt? That's right. That's you all day. Because see, your greatest lesson is learning about you. Some of y'all may have did it in reverse and you're learning through experiences that have been very hard. And you might think that you're alone. You are not alone. Because let me tell you what, the reason why you feel that you are alienated is because there's a spiritual attack being going on. And see, the devil cannot afford you to be stable. Because it's tied to your purpose. And there are going to be things that you're going to contribute. Each one teach one. There are going to be people that you are going to be in chance, just for a moment, that are going to be inspired, maybe from what falls from your mouth or a gesture. So there is no rest when it comes to you because see, life, the fruits of your labor, you will come to see that it is your greatest investment. Because see, we're talking about you, y'all. We're not talking about something that's fly by night. We're talking about something that is blessed and beautiful that will stand the test of time. But with that, there will be concessions as well as sacrifices that have to be fulfilled. Oh, yes. As I always convey to the intended heart and mind, you must find yourself. You have to find yourself. The moment that you do make that decision, that that's going to be the day that you are going to take the road less traveled and go forward to yourself, the peace will return. Now, yes, I'm going to be honest with you. There's going to be a swap because the environment that you are in or were from is not where you're going. And what's going to happen, the closer and closer that you take steps for you, the things that were hidden, the things that were out of reach. The things that you were not privy to, one by one, they're going to be revealed to you. One is for your direction, and the other, I have to be honest, is straight up from the devil. And he's going to do these things to test your fortitude. He wants to see how bad you want it. So with that being said, you may be in a season where you have what I call a mini Rippleton effect back down memory lane. And you start seeing people that you haven't seen, heard from, out of the blue, just boom, right there in front of you to process. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to jumpstart your heart. It's going to stimulate your emotions. You may even find inspiration of nostalgia. But I ask you this. That is the time that you discern it. You discern it because that may be another ploy, another trick, another ruse for you to backslide into deeper pain. See, the devil's a lie because I know I'm talking to somebody. But see, what's required more than that is you have to love yourself. You have convinced yourself through seasons of connections, temporary or with periods of time that were invested, shared by denial and tears, that you think that what you have experienced was love. No, there was no love there. And the frustrating part about it is you realize that now too, because of what it's cost you. And I'm not saying this to put daggers, because I already know you're sensitive. I know you're sensitive. I also know that you've been doing a good job to convince everybody that you've got it together. But the truth is, you're only one thread away for it falling apart. We've all been there. But to not be able, so you can't change something you won't acknowledge is going on with you. But here's the kicker. Your associations and your experiences and your connections are also validated by the state of mind that you have at that moment. I know I'm talking to someone. It was all good yesterday, right? Then she walked into your life. Remember how you felt before you met her? And you remember what you felt through it? And you remember where you were after it. What was the common denominator in that? Common denominator is you weren't focusing on yourself. But before we flip it and say, well, Gerald, how can you be in a relationship if you don't show compassion? You don't allow your emotions to be pure. Well, first of all, you can't help someone if you don't help yourself first. Like, for example, if I'm on a plane and it's going down and the smoke, the breath, the air mask come down, they always tell you, don your mask first before you don your children. Because if you're not together, you can't do anything for them. So you're both in the same position because you're not helping each other. So if you're not helping each other, guess what? I just described you're not being yoked. That's why you see this. When you see two people that are broken, You notice time moves real quick, but their efforts don't. It's like, yeah, like they're in a time. They're like in a tunnel. Why? Because they focus on the wrong things. But guess what? We are what we attract. So you attract someone that has the same denial as you, but they also know that as long as I don't speak on it, this works for me because you won't expose my flaws or empower me to change them. That's where that proverb, birds of a feather flocks together. But so does misery. And I believe right now, y'all, more importantly, a lot of y'all are tired. You're tired of lying to yourself. You're tired of hurting in silence. You're saying to yourself, well, Gerald, I don't understand. I've got the degree, I've got the home, I've got the car, but I need the man. And I am whole. Where's God in that? Let me change this so you understand where I'm coming from. God knows your heart. No matter how strong you try to be, no matter how much of a front you put on to them, God knows your heart. He knows your thoughts before you even speak them, before they're even a thought. He knows because he created you. So where in that dynamic did God ask you for your help? That's why you always see this. The things that become your desires become your lessons time and time again. I do one better. The person that you're destined to be with will have a spiritual foundation and have earned the right have to have the keys to the other side of your life because you guys will be together. You'll be yoked. But here's the kicker: because the devil knows that, mind you, the devil has the ability. He knows the name of your future husband, future wife, the name of your children. I know I'm talking to somebody right now. That's all you've been thinking about. You want a baby. You want someone to love. You think, well, if I have a child, it'll heal that wound because no one loved me, and that baby will be I can pour all my love in that. But let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with being a mother, a father. But if you're looking to have children to fill a void, you are doing nothing but spiritually placing a burden on that child's life. Because guess what? While you focusing on that child, you're setting that child up to deal with people that are going to deplete them. And we see this all the time. In a neighborhood like a neighborhood near you, a town like you, a city near you, a state like you, there is someone every day. That's why I tell you, my family, if you're under the age of 35, you don't know who you are yet. But if you don't have a relationship with God, your relationship, and let me tell you something, your relationship is not going to be founded with God because you're sitting in a building. That is nothing but a structure. It is found the moment that you connect with Him. That's why I keep echoing. It's not His responsibility to seek you out. He created you. He gave you everything that you need inside you. He gave it to you. And in the intended time and moment, you understood why and how it responds. Be quiet, Tyson. That's why you're seeing this, since we are such a sexual generation. My queens, do you think it's out of the out of the hold on a minute, let me shut this door real quick. And I got something I'm gonna jump on and jump right off. Okay, kings and queens, have you realized, for those that are in their 30s, you're more sexually motivated than you were in your 20s? For those who started being sexually active in your teens, but it's more prevalent, even more so for you, my queens. It's like a fresh breath for air, but it's a thirst that you can't quench. But inside your mind, in your intellect, you think that the act of being with someone quenches you. Some of you have issues with the fact that you go home by yourself, or there's no one in that bed, and you long for this. You think you're being punished, so that you've actually allowed this to fall from your mouth. If I only had just piece of a man, I would be content. You need to stop doing that. I'm telling you this because it's no surprise the men to come. That's from the devil. He uses your longing and desires, but what you really long for is intimacy, intimacy within yourself. That's what that void is. That void is nothing but a representation of your spirit needing to be nurtured. But society won't put that out there. Society wants you to reproduce. Society wants you to burn yourself out. That's why we have so many issues with women today dealing with fibroid issues. That's like, you heard about it, but it's more prevalent more than ever now. Women got ovarian cyst problems, fibroid problems, but we all know where fibroid problems come from, right? Comes from dealing with people that are not clean, and your body's trying to push that out, or you're going through the flows of heavy menstrual cycles. You say, well, that's just because of my genetics. Part is diet. The other part is spirit. Now, I'm pointing this out for a minute, for a reason. You're going through all these things right now for one distinct reason. The devil don't want you to be who you're destined to be. So he thinks that you won't invest in your life. You won't have a connection with God because you're too busy trying to be like someone you're not. When actually, if you would ground your feet, you would actually understand that they are never on your level anyway. And I don't mean to be smug. You are emulating someone, but in actuality, if you looked at yourself in the mirror, you would realize how beautiful you really are. But you can't see past the wounds. You can't see past the traumas. You can't see past the denial. And you are convinced that life as you see it is the end all be all. But here's the thing you don't recognize. While you taking all the negativity that you may have inherited from your family, because maybe my mama was this way, so I got traits from my mom's personality and traits from my dad's personality. That makes me, I'm going to repeat the cycle. The devil's a liar. Maybe you're destined to be the matriarch that's going to change the direction of your family. Maybe that's the reason why you went through so much pain, so much strife at a young age, because the devil's got to strike you where you can't defend yourself, most vulnerable in the eyes of a child. Some of y'all may be going through a disappointment that you never got over, or maybe you hold a burden of hatred for someone that you may have thought left you high and dry, that was not there when you needed the most, or was only there to place the boot of burden on your heart. You say to yourself, every time I deal with you, there's always something that comes with you. But here's the beautiful thing about that. There's still awareness. And if there's awareness, there's choice. And if there's choice, there must be a responsibility. But to have that responsibility, you must understand that is also free will. And that is something that most people cannot do. I don't care if you are strong like Iron Mike Tyson in your prime, or the baddest female that walked the planet. If you do not love you, if you do not know who you really are, you're going to keep, how can you protect yourself from the things you don't know? Each one teach one is what they say. But if you're using the influences of the things that brought tears to your eyes as a means to navigate your life, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you are in a placement in your life where there's fear because you say, well, Gerald, this is all I know, and if I take that option to fall back in love with myself and invest in myself, I may be perceived as being selfish. All I'm asking you is to breathe, because really no one can invest in you better than you. But we're being indoctrinated that to make it in this world, you must sell your soul, sell your self-respect, sell your body, and not invest in that beautiful mind. Ain't nothing worse than seeing a beautiful person natural in their state and they don't. I tell people, ain't nothing worse than seeing a woman without her smile. Because the reality is somebody or something made it go away. But until you acknowledge what is broken, you cannot make the steps to be healed. So the question I ask to each and every one of you is, how can you call yourself independent and you won't you won't allow yourself to heal? That's like somebody going to the dealership to get new tires, but they're already bald. All you're doing is spinning. All you're doing is doing a disservice to you. You waking up today and you realize that the connection you have with him is nothing but financial and status. But you know the reality is he's not capable of protecting your heart. Sure, he can stimulate you, but the reality is he never will love you because he doesn't love himself. Which goes back is that sacred scripture. What is a man to inherit the earth? The earth. by way of losing his soul. And we're seeing it play out every day. The people that are put on pedestals today fall tomorrow. And when asked why, you notice they never can tell you that. They quick to deflect, but they'll never speak their truth. You know why? Because these people don't know themselves. They don't know themselves. And the reality is, it's just like this. If I gave you $1 million check today, right? But you didn't know the value of $1, the probability is you're going to blow it. But if you did not know your worth and see the beauty that makes you you, the likelihood is you're going to be taken advantage of. See, that's how opportunists work, y'all. That's how they do. See, opportunists will never waste their time. They won't. So we can look at it this way. There must have been something about you for that person to want to gravitate around you. But it can't be defined unless it's already in your mind. Do you hear what I'm saying? So there's 50% of responsibility that must be shouldered, because no one can make you do nothing you don't want to do. But we are in a society where it's okay to say half truths and deflect and not take ownership, but yet the price that comes with those choices, we're always left with a mouth open, holding a bag and a heavy emotional backpack. Hold that thought. All right. Thank you for your patience. So I'm going to bring this back home real quick. The moment that you make the moment that you decide that you're worth something, that'll be the moment God will show you how much you're really worth. Now, the trade-off is this. You're going to receive a whole lot of kickback. You're going to see a whole lot of truth too, as well as see things that you weren't privy to. You're going to gain a whole lot of spiritual knowledge, as well as be able to see the hearts of the people that have access to your life. With that, that's free will. You're going to have to make a decision if you're going to walk that path, but just know this. If you don't like where you are, isn't it your responsibility to change the view? But you can never change the view if you're constantly running from you. No, that's why I keep trying to convey. Yes, he may have shown you how to flip it, rub it down, and get you off. But if he doesn't know God, he will never see you in the right direction. He can't. And that's a conscious choice. I know you say to yourself, well, Gerald, my heart skips a beat for this person, but they can't get right. You have talked yourself blue in the face, hoping that this person will change. But I'm here to tell you this too. That person was not your blessing. That person was your lesson. I know I'm talking to somebody. If you're constantly trying to make excuses for someone else's actions and not taking accountability for your own, they are your lessons. They are actually your insight and wisdoms of things you do not deserve nor need. Can a person change? Every day. Every day. But you will start to see a connection of your blocks too, because if you're spending 1 ounce of energy holding hatred, resentment, anguish, or control issues, let me tell you something. That's free will. And those things only rob you of your life. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is this. No matter what you're going through, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've seen or felt, you have to learn to forgive yourself. Because the moment that you decide to forgive yourself, you are starting to become vulnerable with you. Some of y'all won't admit it, but deep down inside, you hate yourself. You despise everything about you. And the irony is, you can't see what other people see. You may have heard it echoed about the things that make you, you. But if you do not make a choice to love yourself, it is a tragedy. It is a travesty. And I'm not trying to be winded, but I'm just telling you right now, I got a feeling right now that some of y'all best friend is that bottle sitting on the side of your bed by your nightstand. You say, boy, as long as I take, some of y'all may be dealing with addictions on a stronger level. Some of y'all, hey, you're at a place of a low that the only time you feel like you're living is because you have someone between your legs. And I'm not saying that to show shade. I'm trying to get you to understand. See, God can't give you what you need, but the devil will always flood your life with the things you want. He always will put a nice shiny bow on top of your pain to distract you from the next burden. You think you deserve that? I do one better. How about that trauma that you've been holding on for a couple of decades? I know I'm talking to somebody. How about them nightmares? Them dreams getting real now, ain't they? Because the devil knows you're getting ready to shift. He knows that. So he was bringing triggers, emotional triggers, to get you to stay in place. Haven't even gotten so brazen. The people connected you have given you ultimatums, calling you out of your name, calling you crazy because you are thinking about you. What's wrong with that? Don't you see control? Don't you see the strings? All they do is tell you how high, and you're already off the ground. Let me tell you something. I know you can get there, but you got to want to get there. And I'm going to tell you this too. Some of y'all are going to deal with one of the most biggest uh, hardest things you're going to deal with is right here. Because some of y'all got some long-standing friendships. Some go back as far as elementary school, and you don't realize that this person has been pulling your strings and deliberately sabotaging your direction because they don't have the fortitude to do it for themselves. But more importantly, they also don't have a relationship with God. Think about it. Think about that last disappointment that you was with them, and they said, "Yeah," blew your head right up, only to knock you down, only to dumb down that, only to leave you holding the bag. The question should be, when you were struggling, where were they? The question should be, if they genuinely were your friend, why would they put you at risk? Because a friend is far and few, because they unconditionally love you, but they're not going to set you up to fail. That's what opportunists do. That's what they do. And it's because they think they got you figured out. But I tell you this, just look at the direction and path of their lives and look at yours. And if you see a parallel, it's because they don't want you to go anywhere. They don't want you to grow. As painful as it may seem, that's what's going on. And I also say this too. You know how they say, be careful with the people you keep, the company you keep, right? The devil loves beauty. The devil loves allure. The devil loves temptation. The devil loves lust. You know why he does that? Because you have to let him in. I'll do one better. Think about all those times you took it upon yourself and you was feeling yourself. You say, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. And then see the recourse of those choices and how it made you feel, but more importantly, what it cost you. Some of y'all are still feeling the effects of that last time that you took it upon yourself to feel brand new. Just look at your credit score. You think the devil don't know that? He brought that person in your life just to stifle your direction. You were handling your business, and then they came along. You think that was just by chance? Nope. Because it was off the state of mind that you were having. So if you had a selfish disposition, you attracted a selfish person in return to mirror what you was feeling. Because he searches your heart. Once again, would a real friend do that? I'll tell you what a real friend won't do. A real friend won't watch you die slow. A real friend won't lie to you. And a real friend won't set you up for failure. Why? Because you're a representation of them. I know I'm talking to someone. So what's required is you to be truthful to yourself. Some of y'all may have to tighten your belt, tighten your shoes, and say goodbye. But some of y'all can't do that because it feels like you're married to them. So you stay in your comfort zone and you let those people that did you wrong back into your life to add another layer of pain. But I will tell you this though, and I say this out of love too. What you don't see are the people that love you. They're growing. They never stopped. They're praying that you make it through. But what they will not do is disturb free will. That's I know some of y'all thinking about that right now. You be saying, you know, if I could turn back the hands of time, I would sure like to talk to Sarah, see how she's doing. What are you doing? Peeking through profiles. It takes more courage to speak your truth and walk in humility than it does to hide in the shadows. You do a disservice to yourself. That's why Tommy ain't gonna change. He'll keep giving you all the excuses why he won't do this or next time. Because deep down inside, Tommy's afraid of Tommy. Tommy don't know what tomorrow will bring because Tommy's still shackled to his past. That's why it's not our place to judge people, but it is your responsibility to pray for them. So if you're going through depression, if you're going through you got some emotional hangups, let me tell you something. Give yourself the greatest gift you could. Have that conversation with God. All he wants is the real you. You ain't got to get dressed up. You could be wherever you find comfort, wherever that is. It's in your car, in your bathroom, on the side of your bed, or in that closet, if that's where you find peace of mind. And speak. He's there for you. He's always been there because you are his child. Think of it this way. A parent's job is to rear that child and protect them from themselves. That's what God wants for you. You're not supposed to be taking L's. But see, we live in a world where soul ties are honored. Bad behavior is celebrated. And confusion is the order of the day. And I believe we're going to be, I already see what's going on. I already peeped it out. Right now in our society, there are divisions going on, right? Divisions. So take a circle, cut it in fours, like a pie chart, and cut them up, right? That circle is your whole. That division is the makings of you, your personality, your physicality, your direction. And in that are different dynamics. This makes up your foundation, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. If you do not invest in these, if you rob yourself from the investment, the first reaction that you will come to see is unbalance. A person that is unbalanced is never safe. So if they're never safe, guess what? You'll never see them smile because they're not whole. But I see what's going on. They're trying to get the cultures to destroy themselves. Does it surprise you the murder rates in the United States have skyrocketed, but we have a sea of guns all over? But here's something a lot of people are not taking notice, and I'm gonna put this out there, and I feel very passionate, and by all means, please do the research yourself. I believe a lot of this is reactionary because of what's in the air. Look at this in the last 5 years and look at us as a society. And you'll notice there's been, yes, we've got our typical cancer, MS, and then we have things that are done, lupus, and then we have things that are self-inflicted, suicide, drug addiction, crime. But more and more in a town near you, community near you, a state near you, you see this. Just look up, just look up. It's a whole lot of chemtrails out there, right? Those chemtrails are getting people sick, y'all. It's no surprise. You're starting to see people have flu-like symptoms. They can't shake it because it's in the air. People ain't dying off quick enough. And I'm not saying this to sound conspiracy. I want you to know this because Joe had to go through it. I was on the shelf for over a month, and I'm going to tell you what. You think you got a cold, then it migrates to a flu, then you can't explain why you feel dehydrated. Then you got those migraines, you don't understand why you got migraines. So what do you think? You say it's allergy related? It's all biological, y'all. You have those people that don't want you here. You don't believe me? Look up the Georgia cornerstones. Everything's hidden in plain sight. So it's very important that you take care of your body. Does it surprise you every time you turn around? There's an endorsement for some new alcohol beverage. But you don't never hear anybody screaming about, hey, protect your liver, protect your kidneys. No, because it's free will. They know if you're not responsible for yourself, you'll end up being your own demise. They know that. That's why there's so much focus on sexual promiscuity now. And guess what, queens? You were the #1 target. That's why the AIDS and HPV rate is so high. Because they know, as a woman, at least from a spiritual point of view, you are so beautiful and unique, but they also know from a spiritual point of view that you are given the gift of nurturing. And just from a small point of view, we know this. If mama's not happy, I'm not happy. Because you're the foundation. The father is the roots. So we need you to love you, invest in you, invest in your health. Don't get caught up on your shallowness. Do you realize within the last year and a half, the sales for waist trainers have gone up 65%? But you don't hear nobody out there saying, hey, drink your water. How about detox? Detox at least every 2 months. No, because behind closed doors, in an office building, there are people sitting at a table with $1,000 suits, looking at their profit sharing, looking at the money they're making because that's going to send Sarah and Billy and Tommy to college, Ivy League, off of your pain. off of your ignorance. And yes, these people do not have a relationship with God at all. They have a relationship with man. They want man to be equal with God, but as you come to see, your arms are not long enough to box with God. So I need you to love yourself, y'all. My queens, this goes out to somebody. I feel your energy. You won't find peace of mind with another man standing, laying on top of you. How many bodies do you got to collect before you decide to love yourself and heal? My kings, what is found between your legs doesn't make you a man. What defines you is what's found in your mind and what is in your spirit. Remember, what's at stake is your last name, but is a reflection of the legacy that you're going to leave behind. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. And trust when I say this, I didn't want it to be long because I only wanted 30 minutes and I just felt moved because I know somebody is listening to this and you're afraid, but you know that change is the order of the day. And yes, the reality is those people that have access to you, watch them fall one by one, because you're going to see sides of them that you never knew existed, but they were there plotting the whole time. Why? Because God has something better for you. Be blessed.